Hi and welcome to Format. I'm Sven.
And I'm David.
And tonight we're looking at the wireless stereo headset 2.0 from Sony for the PlayStation line. It works with the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3 and kind of works with the Vita. We'll also be discussing a few things that have been going on with a particular brand. So yes, shall we crack on? To be fair, I have opened this and played with it a bit, so...
Yes, you've been raving about it for weeks, so I'm guessing you have.
Very nice packaging.
So start with kind of works with the Vita.
Kind of works with the Vita because it doesn't work with the Vita wirelessly. It's frustrating when the Vita's got Bluetooth built in.
So the Vita's got Bluetooth and this is a Bluetooth gadget.
It's not Bluetooth.
What is it?
It's using a 2.4 gigahertz connection, but it uses a dongle.
Okay.
Which plugs into USB, which is slightly, again, I don't kind of understand that because both the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 are Bluetooth.
Okay.
So why wouldn't it be Bluetooth? It seems it must be the case that Bluetooth either can't handle the number of channels, or it's cheaper. Yeah, or it's cheaper to do it this way.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's
stuff hiding.
and stuff in there.
Stuff hiding, yeah.
Okay.
There we go. So underneath, there's bits to come out as well.
What's the pouch for the dongle?
Say again?
There's a pouch in there. Is that for the dongle and the cables? Because it shows that isn't for the headset.
For the headset.
It is for the headset.
Yeah.
In case you need to tuck it up so it can go bye-byes.
Yeah, pretty much. There we go. Anyway, as well as the pouch, you can pop it in. What do you think, yeah?
Yeah, comfortable enough. It isn't too sprung so that it digs in. Nice amount of padding. Up there, switch on the side. Micro USB. I like the VISA volume on the side as well. And the controls seem simple enough.
Use your paperworks. You get your dongle.
Nobody ever reads the paperwork.
No, quite. Your dongle.
Yeah.
That's the cable to plug it into your Vita. So it's a normal 3.5 mil with the microphone pole on it as well, obviously. And a micro USB to charge it, but it's not just for charging. It's a clever bit. So yes, it connects wirelessly to a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 thanks to the dongle, wired to a Vita, which is a bit of a shame. When plugged into the Vita, it works in 2.0 surround or 2.0 normal stereo. When it connects into a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3, it's 7.1 surround.
Okay.
Because it's using multiple drivers to simulate the effect.
Okay.
Which is quite nice. And you can tell the difference when you're using it. This, as I say, as well as charging it, also allows you to program the headphones.
Right.
Okay, so you'll probably have noticed when you're looking at it, there's an off, the switch has 3 positions, off, 1 and 2.
Customizable settings for specific games?
Yeah,
or?
basically. Position 1 puts it into your normal hearing mode.
Yeah.
7.1 surround, no messing around with the waveform, essentially. Stick it onto position 2 and you have, it's only one sort of like profile you can have in the headphones at a time.
Right.
But when you plug it into your PlayStation 3 or 4, you can basically upload a profile down to it and basically get different soundscapes essentially for different games. So it can be set up to be specifically set up for a game.
Okay.
So
are any of the games, because I'm not au fait with gaming on this. So how many games do custom gamescaping?
There's quite a few. I mean, it's mainly just the big releases, though. To be fair, I mean, I noticed I think Bloodborne's got one, and the Killzone's got one, and so on and so forth. But you can make your own.
Well, that's always.
You actually have a little utility, so you can make your own soundscape. So I tend to just go for it's all about the bass.
It's all about bass.
Yeah. Now in use, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, the clarity of the sound is epic. I've had no problems with the chat function whatsoever. I seem to be quite clear coming through it, and it's incredibly comfortable.
Yeah, because you use your PlayStation 3 as a multi.
Yeah, but both my PlayStation 3 and 4 tend to be used for not just gaming. So you say everybody's in bed at night, and I've got a surround sound for watching film, which is quite decent, and it really is nice. I mean,
so Debbie does Dallas's crystal clear.
How rude! But it's like, yeah, I really love these headphones.
Well, you've been raving about them, so alright, let's go with the simple stuff. Mm-hmm. So, neo-lithium battery in them?
I haven't a clue.
You haven't a clue. What's the charge time?
It seems to charge in a couple of hours, if that.
Okay.
Half the thing.
And what's the use time?
I think it's about 4 hours. Depending on what you're doing with it, because it also depends on the settings and how much power is going through the woofer part and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just great. It's just great.
Retail value?
They sell for, I think the RRP is $79.99, but if you shop around and pick the right moment, you can pick them up for just over 50 quid. Mm-hmm. So it's like, just keep an eye on the thing. The only drawback I feel might be with them is they may not work at the same time as PlayStation VR. But the only way I've got to be sure of that is by trying them both at the same time.
Okay.
Because PlayStation VR comes with a pair of earbuds, which I hate. So I'm kind of hoping they have the sense to make them usable at the same time, though you probably look quite weird.
So how hard are they to sync up with your existing equipment?
You don't really need to, because
literally you just plug and play.
Plug and play, and you're away.
I like plug and play.
But it works with the PC as well, which is really quite decent. So, you know, in the middle of the night, if I can't sleep or something, I can watch YouTube videos on my PC or something rather than booting up the telly. So
yes, videos, late night, streaming off the internet. YouTube, of course that's where you're going.
Not all of us are dirty whores.
Give or take. Mainly giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the weight's nice.
Yeah.
They didn't feel too strong when they were on. I'm now going to go test the quality and we'll get back.
Weapon power up. Multiplier up. Phase complete. Overdrive charged. Multiplier lost.
PlayStation.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're coming from. Granted, my home system isn't set up for the whole surround. I mean, you remember the good old days when I was really touchy on the Laserdisc and it had to have the THX surround and all that. Now, yeah, my old you remind me of pipe. I've given up on the whole everything has to be crystal clear now and everything has to be that. But I will admit, yeah, definitely superior to what I've got set up. And I'm not a huge fan of wearing headsets at home, mainly due to the fact that I do a lot of Xbox gaming, and that little, the proper headset eventually squeezes your head, and if you've got one of the Bluetooth ones that connect on, it slowly weighs your ear down because the clip's too heavy. So I'm not a massive fan of that type of thing. But in the half an hour we gave it, I can see why you like it. Yeah, cool. All right then. So, what's this news? Because you sort of like hinted to them that there was something, but I ain't got a clue what you're going on about.
There seems to be. I mean, Sony seemed to be going through some massive changes in 2016 for the PlayStation brand. I think people are picking up on individual bits and not realising that as a whole.
We're talking about that really cool VR headset though, really.
Well, there's the VR headset for a start. I mean, we've known that's been coming since it was called Project Morpheus, and they've kind of been hinting about it for quite some time. I mean, from what I understand, some of the developers who had something to do with virtuality have something to do with it, which doesn't surprise me. So they've basically got this headset now, which is ready for release later this year. They're showing it off at various events up and down. They've already been doing that for a while, to be fair. It's going to be AGX resed and things like that this year. It's got its own processor in the block that's in the cable. Things like that, just to make sure it's nice and quick. Okay, well, you've got a situation with PlayStation VR where it's coming out. They'd said for a long time it was going to be a launch price of equivalent of that of a new console release, which in my head automatically went 350 quid then. Yeah. That's how much the PlayStation 4K
350, 399.
Everybody out there was like going, we don't know what price PlayStation VR is. Oh, is it going to be this price? Is it going to be that price? And I'm sitting there going, what? The Oculus Rift has been announced at a price that would equate to 450, 500, maybe a little bit more in this country. You've got HTC Vive, which is being developed in association with Valve for Steam, basically. And that's going to be retailing at over 600.
Yeah, that's the expensive,
which is crazy. And people have suddenly gone, the PlayStation VR, it's so cheap, it's 350 quid. I'm like, yeah, we've been known that for about a year and a half. I don't understand. But one thing a lot of people haven't worked out though, or haven't realised, is that to use PlayStation VR you need to have a PlayStation camera already. Or you need
That's
to go and buy
easy
one.
enough to get.
And for some of the games you'll need PlayStation Move.
Again, easy enough to get.
I mean, a number of people have suddenly gone, they kept my PlayStation camera. I was like, yeah, because we were told a year and a half ago that they would need PlayStation camera. And they said before PlayStation 4 launched that PlayStation Move would be used with it, and this is how. So I don't understand quite where people have suddenly gone, oh, I didn't realise you'd need all these. It's like, really?
Have you met people?
Have you met people? I don't know. I just don't get it. But that's a big thing this year for PlayStation. Obviously, it's very PlayStation 4 specific, but Sony don't seem to recognise the fact there is any other PlayStations. And that's been borne out with the fact that PlayStation TV has been killed.
Has it?
Yeah, they've stopped making them.
When did that happen?
A couple of months ago now, apparently. They didn't actually tell anybody when it happened. They've just let it drain away. And considering the way they've treated it since launch, I'm not really surprised. Because, creating a whitelist and blacklist for games that doesn't actually have anything to do with whether it would work or not seems a bit strange.
They did what?
Yeah. A good example of this is Wipeout. Wipeout for the Vita.
Right.
Okay. The menu screen needs touch controls.
Yes.
It's the only thing in the game that needs to touch controls.
Yes.
But because of that,
they literally crowbarred the damn thing in.
And because of that, they blacklisted it for the PlayStation TV.
But it'll still work on the TV.
Yes, even though that you could use the controller to emulate the touch screen. It was only on the menu screen, so it didn't need to be ultra rapid or anything. But they blacklisted it, so it will not run. It would
But
work
it's
fine,
capable.
but they blacklisted it, so it actually comes up with this is not compatible with this device as they're trying to run it.
Okay.
And they've done that to a ton of stuff. And what's worse is their own official list of the products that do and don't work is a lie. Which is why, I work on Vita Player a bit. The list we did on there, we actually tested everything, and a lot more works than Sony.
Did they not bother doing that with theirs? They
No.
literally just go, it's got touch controls.
Yeah, basically, and they created a blacklist for it. They didn't check any of the PlayStation 1 games, pretty much all of them work. The PlayStation portable games, PSP games, pretty much all of those work. The PlayStation mini games, pretty much all of those work. You're just like, oh. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that. So they literally just treated it with complete disdain from the moment it came out and to the moment they've canned it, and it's just, I don't understand.
So what's happening with it now in regards to people who own one and are still big fans of the device? Because you're on that list.
Yeah, they're basically saying that the PlayStation Store is still available. That's it. That's pretty much it. As long as they're still... I mean, I would say, as long as any new releases for the Vita that are going on to the PlayStation Store still tell you whether they'll work before you buy them, that'd be nice. But there's not an awful lot coming out for the Vita either.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I saw a game release list for that a couple of weeks
Physical
ago.
releases are virtually non-existent. There's still plenty of stuff coming out in Japan because they're still selling tons of the machines in Japan, but not an awful lot of those are getting anglicised. So it's a bit of a shame. And again, Sony are just treating the Vita like, oh, it's a remote play device. That's it for the PS4, which is a bit sad, really. But
it is, because it's a decent unit.
Yeah, when you look at the sales figures of the handhelds in general, they're just tanking completely. So I mean,
It's funny because the sales figure for my handheld's doing incredibly well. Yeah, my handheld is doing tremendously well.
But it's interesting.
Isn't it weird though? We're all addicted to crap games that came out 20 years ago and variants thereof.
I don't play any games.
I know you don't, but I do.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
But Sony are very, very clearly focusing everything on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
They've stopped making the PlayStation 3 now for Australia.
Have they?
And some of the other territories. But there's a very good reason why. Is that machine cannot get cost reduced anymore. There's nothing more they can do.
Right.
Because that processor is, because the cell broadband processor that's in it doesn't really get used in anything else, ever. It has a Blu-ray drive, not the cheapest thing to stick in the console. It's got the wireless networking built in and so on and so forth. So even the super slim PlayStation 3 has a hell of a lot of tech in it. And with the 12 gig machine still carrying a retail price technically of £179, and the 500 gig version kicking out at £250, doesn't look awfully good value compared with the £299 PlayStation 4 500 gig, does it?
No.
No. And the reason for that is because as of very recently, if you actually work it out and look into the cost prices of things, it's probably cheaper to build a PlayStation 4 now than a PlayStation 3. Simply because the processor in it, it's a PC processor.
The graphic card
essentially
as well, because graphic
it's built into the CPU. So with essentially a system on a chip as your processor to all intents and purposes, cost reduction on the PS4 is going to accelerate way faster than anything the PlayStation 3 is going to offer. So you now have a situation where the current PlayStation 4, and you'll realise why I say that in a second, could theoretically be released at a lower price point than PlayStation 3. So it's no real surprise that PlayStation 3 is going to get canned and basically stop being produced. Because next year is its 10th birthday anyway in this country, and this year is its 10th birthday in most territories. So it's not really a big surprise, and it has lasted quite some time.
Oh yeah.
And let's face it, HD still runs at 1080p at 60 frames a second on it. So
You had to find a way of cramming that in there, didn't
yes,
you?
I did. But it gives Sony the opportunity, if they get the PlayStation 3 out of the way at this point, of popping the PlayStation 4 down to a lower price. Thing is then, is that they don't have a premium device. Or do they?
I was about to say, I heard a rumour.
What have you heard?
No, I heard that see, normally you'd go, they're going to release a Slim, or they're going to release a Plus, or they're going to do this, but I heard that they're going to release a beefed up version.
Yeah. I mean, what I think their game plan's going to be is, yes, move the PlayStation 4 down to a lower price point. There probably is a slim version, because they probably don't need quite so many heat sinks in it now, and so on and so forth. It's probably quite feasible to be in a smaller case. But one of the things that Sony haven't made very secret is the fact that the PlayStation 4 was something they were looking at upgrading at some point. Now, as of next month, that is April, depending on when this video goes out, the first of the Blu-ray Ultra HD 4K discs come out. Now, originally the plan was for Blu-ray to be upgradable, so that these discs should be readable by current Blu-ray players.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, that would be accurate. Slight problem is, well, technically speaking, there's a firmware update to the drives themselves.
No, I know the technicality of it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, technically speaking.
I mean, from a technical point of view, just so everybody's aware, a firmware update to a Blu-ray drive should theoretically allow it to read the new discs, because the technology behind that has been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And Pioneer actually did something that was far more increased the capability of the storage of a Blu-ray disc far more than this new standard does, and it would have been compatible with the drives. The problem you've got is actually getting the data being read off the discs into the TV fast enough. And what these new discs do is, not only are they 4K, but they're also HDR, which means that the dynamic range on the reproduction is much higher, so you get blacker blacks, better contrast, etc, etc, etc. And when you see a HDR 4K screen, which I saw for the first time this week,
aren't they amazing?
I was like, are you sure that's not a window? It was actually showing a crowd in the street, and I was like looking at it going, that looks like a piece of glass that's really, really clean. Over a cityscape. It was ridiculous. And that amount of data, the amount of data that's flowing through that can't be done on HDMI 1.3 or 1.4. There's just not enough bandwidth there. So the actual problem, which is why Blu-ray players and PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 won't be able to do Ultra HD Blu-rays, is because of bandwidth and the cabling.
All of God, we're going to end up with 2.5 cables, aren't we?
Well, basically all of the HDMI chips that are in those machines, that even though they can be updated a bit through firmware updates, are essentially HDMI 1, or a variation of HDMI 1, so HDMI 1.3, HDMI 1.4 and so on and so forth. And they cannot transmit the data fast enough. The main reason why you won't be able to play a Ultra HD Blu-ray 4K with HDR disc on a normal Blu-ray player or PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 or Xbox One isn't because the disc can't be read, it's because the data can't be transmitted to the TV fast enough. The difficulty being the bottleneck that is HDMI 1 in its various forms. So 1.3A or 1.4 is...
Do you remember when we were singing the praises of the bandwidth capability of HDMI? I
mean, it can just about manage the 4K. It's the 4K with the HDR that's the problem.
Yeah.
So there's so much more information trying to be thrown at the TV for it to then decode that it's just no. It's just not going to happen. So unless you actually start performing open circuit surgery on these machines and putting in a new chip,
I'm just wondering how one of those tellies would deal with my VHS.
It would laugh uncontrollably and let you watch it on a postage stamp sized window. It's like trying to play Tomb Raider on a Saturn.
I'm saying
Nothing.
nothing.
Okay.
Bearing in mind, today I had to sort out all my
Quake
cables.
on a Saturn, even more.
Oh, it could be worse.
Oh yeah.
I had to sort out all the cables and everything under my thing, and I went, does that Dreamcast still work? You know what is absolutely shocking?
Please tell me you have at least got a SCART cable for that machine. You weren't putting it through RF, were you? Oh boy, you were putting it through RF.
You know what's even worse?
What?
Genuinely worse. Putting an original Game Boy game on to a 50-inch plasma.
Oh, you were using a Game Boy player. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Ruins everything.
I set up the
I'm playing Pokemon Red. Pixels. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I wanted to play 25th anniversary. No,
Don't do that.
no.
By that it means 25th anniversary Star Trek Game Boy.
Yeah, in the best bit is I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. It doesn't like the DS. Okay, no problem. I'll put it onto that. It doesn't like that. In the end, I had to drop down to an original Game Boy to play it without cringing the entire way through.
Yeah.
How long it took me to find my original Game Boy to play it.
Well, when we did the handheld things, which we've still not released, it took you a while because we will redo that one. But never mind. Anyway, so and this is the thing: Sony has somewhat of a vested interest when it comes to Blu-ray, regardless which version of Blu-ray it is. So it's no surprise that even though the PlayStation 4 can output 4K, it can't do HDR. Therefore, they need a machine that can output the 4K HDR Blu-rays, Ultra HD Blu-rays. So while they're there, they may as well upgrade the rest of it. So it looks like the plan is to produce a PlayStation 4K, which is at least the internal code name for it. A lot of people are calling it PlayStation 4.5, PlayStation 4 Plus. Some people don't realise there was a PlayStation 2 Plus at one point, but all that had was a built-in IR receiver. Really. But it basically means that they're going to produce a PlayStation 4 that will have, it will retain its old price point, probably go back to the 350, maybe a little bit more, depending on whether they can get the price down on the pass, that will play 4K Blu-rays and will play the games in 4K. So PlayStation 4K, it looks like it's going to be released, probably might even be this year. It's going to have 4K Blu-ray support with HDR, obviously. Obviously it's going to output everything it does in HDR, so Sony will probably be going, this was a perfect example of something to go with this TV, because they're not released. It's interesting. Sony's 2016 range doesn't appear to have any 4K Blu-ray players, from what I've seen, but they've got 4K HDR TVs, so it's like,
Okay.
there's a massive gap you're just going to fill with PlayStation 4K, isn't it?
Could be.
Makes sense. So it's going to do that. Obviously it'll be outputting in 4K, so it looks like the other thing they're going to do is put in a beefier processor and beefier so what they'll probably do is put in a beefier processor with the beefier graphics side of things as well, because it's all in the same CPU anyway, which means that it'll be outputting the games in 4K. But everybody's throwing their toys out of the pram going, oh, it's going to just be like the 32X and so on and so forth, but it's really not.
32, that's really reaching.
Yeah. Well,
That's like, seriously, that's ridiculously reaching.
Because add-ons like that for consoles in the past required...
Yeah, that was in the past.
Yeah, exactly, but they required a different version of the executable, a different version of the kernel, the code of the game, because it was a different processor.
But it's all PC based.
Exactly, this is the point. All you've got is a situation here with PlayStation 4 and 4K is that you'll have a mid-level PC and a low-level PC and a mid-level PC. Yeah. Essentially, so you'll have your basic specs and your recommended specs. That's literally the situation you'll be in. It's like taking one of the Amiga games that could cope with being upgraded.
Crowbar that in.
Yeah. Well, it's like Settlers. Perfect example.
Good God. What about 4K and he manages to get Settlers in?
Yeah. Well, Settlers 1 on the Amiga, when you put it into an A500, it limited what it could do.
We lost about 3/4 of the audience.
That's
Don't get me wrong,
fine.
the 25% that are still with us are really with us.
Yeah.
But the rest...
But it's like you put settlers into an A500, you got, I think it was 4 or 5 squares on the map, and you didn't get any sound effects, or you could have the sound effects or the music, but not both. Put it into a 1200, suddenly you had a massive area you could play in, and you got all the effects and so on and so forth. It's basically that situation. It just means that you buy a game, you put it in the machine, it will go, would you like to play this in 1080p? If it's if you're lucky, on the normal PlayStation 4, because some of the games don't even go up to that still, which I don't get.
Really?
Yeah. Xbox One's even worse. It is! Technically speaking,
That's another episode.
The GPU's not quite as good, and I say not quite as good because it's really quite a minor difference, but it means that some versions of games run on the Xbox.
That's for another episode.
One's slightly
calm. That vein's doing the thing. Okay.
But it basically means that the same executable should work on both.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of it'll be...
do you want the all singing dancing version?
Yeah, or would you want...
version?
Yeah, it'll
It's
literally
fine,
be rendered on the 4K in 4K. That's it. There's no... it's probably taken out of the game programmer's hands to a certain degree because of the APIs and hardware extraction layers and all this kind of stuff. So, yes... What that basically means is that this year, by the end of the year, you will probably be able to buy a PlayStation 4 standard version at 200 quid or maybe less. You'll be able to buy a PlayStation 4K at £350, maybe a little bit more, and I'm betting it's going to have a 2TB hard drive in it as well, so the 1TB that's kicking around in most of them, or the 500 gig one. And then you'll be able to add PlayStation VR for your 350 quid. And if you haven't still got your PlayStation camera, you'll need to buy that, and you haven't got your PlayStation Move ones, you might need to pick those up from a charity shop.
Well, yeah.
Or something. So, that's kind of the situation you're going to be in, and are Sony going to be supporting anything else? No. They don't give a monkeys about anything else at this point, because the PlayStation 4, as a format, has sold so fast, it's actually overtaken the PlayStation 2. Quite significantly by this point. There's far more PlayStation 4s at this point in its lifespan than there were PlayStation 2s. So, to shoehorn 4K Blu-ray into people's homes using that as a Trojan horse is a perfectly acceptable business move, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So, it seems like logic and allows them to have a lower tier PlayStation 4 that can be aimed at your entry-level people, your younger teenagers, whatever. And you can bet your bottom dollar that means there'll be a lot more kids games coming out for it, which will then work on PlayStation 4K anyway, in 4K, because the way the tech works. So, it'll be an interesting thing to see what happens by the end of this year, because of course that's going to force Microsoft's hand as well. Because they can't be running around with the Xbox One at 50 quid more than, or £100 more than the PlayStation 4's coming out at, when they've spent all their time trying to get the price down.
They'll have a cunning plan, but
yeah,
they've not released any data.
Yeah, quite. But then there's Halo Wars 2, isn't there? So suddenly you're going, actually, if they bring the price down, that'll be really good.
I'm hoping they bring the price down.
Yeah. So it'll be a very interesting, completely different landscape in the console market by the end of this year, I think. But I don't think people have quite clicked onto the fact that that's all going to happen all in one go during the process of this year. When I would imagine that by the time PlayStation VR comes out, you'll have the situation of being able to pick up a PlayStation VR and a PlayStation 4 as a starter pack to get you kicking off for about $550.
Can't lock that.
No, exactly. So that would be with the PlayStation camera as well, just to really take the lead. So yes. So what do you think? You think Sony are going in the right direction with this move, or do you think they're wasting their time? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay, right, well, thank you very much. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can follow us on both Facebook and Twitter, and of course there's the official Geekology website. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Bye. This has resulted in people throwing their toys out of the pram and saying, "You owe me a pint."
I don't think they're saying you owe me a pint.
So what I'll probably do...
We're already clocking over half an hour.
Yeah, it's going to get cut to shreds. There's so much stuff.
I'm just saying.
So
How
what's up?
long do you want this one to be?
Yeah. Well, it looks like...
And how many times I could interrupt you with it? Without seeming rude.
So they're probably doing this...
What about 4K and he manages to get settlers in?
Yeah. Well, Settlers 1 on the Amiga, when you put it into an A500, it limited what it could do.
We lost about 3/4 of the audience.
That's fine.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the 15% that are there are like, woohoo! But
25%.
25%. I'm going to re-edit that.